It's almost time, thankfully, for the 2013 NFL Draft. We're not quite there yet. This is my second to last mock. I have another one up either Tuesday night or Wednesday night. That one will be 3 rounds with trades factored in, or trades that I think could potentially happen, or I could foresee happening, or maybe should happen. Combination of things. This one here doesn't have any trades. The picks are as they currently are, and it's 2 rounds. It's in the description box down below. A couple of things that I'm using this particular mock draft as a measurement for. I'm using it as a combination of if things played out a certain way, where players would go, in some cases, who teams should take if the board fell a certain way. I'm also using it too in large part as a measurement of individual players' stock. So it kind of gives you an idea of not so much necessarily just the team that might take them, but maybe more so the range in which they might actually be taken. You'll see, like I have Eric Fisher going #1 overall to Kansas City. I don't expect that to happen, but they put themselves in that position where they have to take an offensive tackle. They might as well take the best offensive tackle. In my opinion, that's Eric Fisher. I think them taking Joeckel is a little bit of a mistake. As you go throughout the draft, you'll see another thing that plays out. You see a couple of real surprise picks in the top 10. DJ Fluker, the offensive tackle from Alabama. You have 3 what you might classify as marquee offensive tackle talents in this draft. And as I've said similarly in previous mock draft videos about the defensive tackle position, where you have Lotulelei, Floyd, and Sheldon Richardson, and somebody in that 4th defensive tackle slot is going to jump up the boards, in that case Sylvester Williams. You're starting to see that play out in a lot of mocks. Now on the offensive tackle side, it's the same thing. You've got Fisher, you've got Joeckel, you've got Lane Johnson from Oklahoma. Who's going to be that 4th offensive tackle? It's pretty unanimous that it's DJ Fluker. And as a result, since he's in that position with those 3 offensive tackles, as you see, I've got him projected going 1, 4, and 5 respectively. There's going to be another team that needs offensive line help somewhere in the first half of the first round. They're going to reach on a DJ Fluker, even though it's not 100% certainty that he can even play left tackle at the NFL level. So I would not be surprised by any stretch of the imagination to see the Arizona Cardinals take the right tackle version of Levi Brown, basically, and take DJ Fluker #7 overall. I've been talking about for a little bit, Tavon Austin's stock is continuing to climb, and I think there's still a great chance that he ends up going in the top 10. Now, could that be actually to the Jets, as I've got here at #9? Could it be maybe to the Bills at #8? Could it be a team like maybe the Minnesota Vikings trading up to get him? Maybe the St. Louis Rams trading up to get him? Maybe you want to get nuts with it. Maybe a team like the San Francisco 49ers make a huge move up the board to get somebody like Tavon Austin. So when you look at that, it's a combination, it's a measure of his draft stock and where I think it currently is, a team who could potentially take him, but maybe more so the spot of which I actually think he'll be drafted at, even if it's not necessarily by the New York Jets. Now, when you look at the quarterbacks, I've got Geno Smith mock #8. I did this in part because I said, well, let's see how the board would fall maybe if Jacksonville didn't take him, if Philadelphia didn't take him, if Cleveland didn't take him, if Arizona didn't take him, and let's see where it ended up. And I just threw Geno Smith to Buffalo, even though I don't think that's a 100% possibility that that would happen. In fact, I could tell you I'd have a sneaky suspicion that if Philadelphia did decide to take Geno Smith #4 overall, things could get really crazy with Buffalo's pick at #8. They could end up taking Tavon Austin. They could take somebody like Tyler Eifert, or they could take a quarterback like E.J. Manuel out of Florida State, #8 overall. Stranger shit has happened, I promise you that. But when you look at the second round, I've got it here. I've got Matt Barkley going 33 to the Jags, Manuel going 35 to the Philadelphia Eagles, Nassib going 39 to the Jets. And when you look at this, what it really is it's a combination of where I think their stock is, even though in all 3 cases I think they'll end up being taken in the late portion of the first round. I also think that I'm measuring here what teams might want that individual player. Like Jacksonville might trade up into the last few picks of the first round to take Barkley. The Eagles may try and stay put and get E.J. Manuel, or they may trade up. Or you could see somebody else like a Matt Scott, the quarterback from Arizona, go surprisingly high in this draft. He's a name to watch at the quarterback position. Nassib to the Jets is a name you're starting to hear more and more. I think it makes a lot of sense. They're going to look at him and see an Andy Dalton type of quarterback. As a result, they may panic and say he probably isn't going to be there at 39, and they're probably right. So they're going to want to trade up. So when it comes to the quarterbacks, it's a combination of the team who I think wants that individual player, and keep in mind that I don't think those 3 quarterbacks are all going to go early in the second round. I would expect these teams, since I didn't mock any trades, I couldn't factor it in here. I would expect each of these 3 teams to potentially trade back up into the bottom half of the first round to take these guys at the quarterback position. But you'll see some other surprises in terms of draft stock. You know, I've got Jonathan Cooper going 11. I've got Warmack falling all the way to the Bears at pick 20. You know, stranger things have happened. It could happen. Some of you might say, why would the Giants take Menelik Watson, number 19 overall? Again, stranger shit has happened. He's got first-round buzz around him right now. The last mock draft, I had him going 27 to the Houston Texans. And again, in a class with some talent at the top at the offensive tackle position, it could potentially lead to some reaches. So keep that in mind. This is a class, as you look at this mock, you see it is relatively deep at the top in terms of offensive linemen. It's deep in terms of 3-4 outside linebackers. It's also deep in terms of wide receivers. It's kind of weak at the running back position, and quarterback position is really up to interpretation. So you take a look through it down there. You also see other players like Tank Carradine, who I think will end up being a first-round pick to somebody. You got players, you know, DJ Hayden, he might end up being a surprise first-round pick. But keep in mind, you know, you'll get 1 or 2 surprises always in the top 10. I think things will get really crazy potentially between 10 and 20. But you always have a couple of late first-round picks that just come completely out of nowhere and shock the fuck out of everybody. I can think way back to, what was it, 2003, when the Raiders took Nnamdi Asomugha at the end of the first round, and Mel Kiper sitting there questioning the pick because they had him as the 3rd or 4th round pick, and it was a surprise pick then, and it ended up, you know, being a great pick for the Raiders, especially when you compare it to some of the other picks they've made over the years. So just keep that in mind. Like I said, another mock draft will be coming up probably Tuesday night, Wednesday night at the very latest. It'll have 3 rounds. It'll be my final mock. It'll factor in trades that are going to happen, I believe, projected trades that I think could happen, and that'll be the final measuring stick. But you let me know. Look at the description box down below. Let me know what you think of my mock, or if you have any questions about your team and what you want me to tell you what I think they should do, whatever the case might be. Let me know down below.